Welcome back. All right. I want to start off by saying something here, and this is sort of an add-on to the video I did between Tampa Bay and Florida. And there seems to be a lot of discussion about how ugly things are getting in these playoffs. Keep in mind these teams, these ones included, and the ones that played earlier today, have now played 60 games on the season. This is an opponent they've seen 12 times already. So the amount of anger and hatred you can get when you've seen the same team that many times, it ramps up. And this is something that before the season started, most of us who've been fans of the game for a long time could kind of see it coming. The reason that 80s hockey was so full of fights wasn't just that was the style of game. It was familiarity does breed contempt. And we saw that in the Battle of Florida right out of the gate. We saw that in the regular season games leading up to the playoffs. Now, in the series between the Islanders and the Penguins, it wasn't nearly as hotly contested. However, this was a pretty darn good game. And for the New York Islanders, they're in this. And so the series, now we've got a tied series, and so it's a best of three from here. And everybody seems to be in agreement that this is going to go seven. And that would not entirely surprise me if it did. So it's Sorokin versus Jari. Sorokin should be the starter. It's nothing against Varlamov. It feels like the Islanders play better in front of Sorokin than they do in front of Varlamov. And we'll see what happens in the next game. But I would think Sorokin has to start. Also, there are 2-0 with Sorokin and 0-2 with Varlamov, so you kind of have to go with Sorokin in that situation. So there's a lot of talk early as well about the high glove shots on Jari, and yet today that wasn't as much part of it. It was just goals happen, and there were chants as well. Immediately, the Jari, the jeering from the Islander crowd started early. Clutterbuck hits Malkin. Malkin took some offense, and we end up with 2 minutes of 4-on-4 when they had it going on. So one storyline today too from the Islanders seemed to be Letang and Malkin are both very emotional players. If we can get them more emotional and engaged on that level, and maybe take them out of the game on the skill level, we have a better chance. And that strategy, if that is what the strategy was, works out pretty well today. Malkin was definitely off of his game. Matheson defends a Barzell chance. There were some fast breaks both ways. Nelson couldn't bury one. Beauvillier ends up hitting the post. Shots were 4-1 for the Islanders at 6.5 minutes. They came out, they were sharp, and again, they were focused on knocking Pittsburgh off of their game. Pressed by the Islanders, Malkin goes right back to the box. So that's back-to-back penalties for Evgeny Malkin. The Islanders get a power play. Tanev was getting into it at the Islanders bench, so just some verbal back and forth going on. Probably about his headshot. Penguins kill that off. One shot by the Islanders during that power play. Not a really, tough one, but their power play would improve as the game went along. So the Penguins' offense had been stifled through the first half of that first period. It does pick it up as the game goes along. Matheson end up passing a shot when he should have actually taken the shot. So passing when you're supposed to shoot. Issue there for Matheson. Penguins get some pressure. The Islanders were doing some good shot blocking at that point in the game. Penguins were cutting down on turnovers that had been a problem early in the period. They were cutting those down in the second half of the period. The Islanders went over 7 minutes between shots. So the score will tell you one thing, but the reality was that in that first period, especially in the second half, Pittsburgh was holding their own. Barzell had a fast break. He ends up hitting the post. Posts were an issue today as well. Last minute chance for McCann, but in the last moments, it was Jari making a shoulder save on Pulock. And and then we go to the second period with it still scoreless. Early on, there was a chance for Rust. That was saved. The Islanders then press. Jari's being tested again. Pretty wide open start to this. Brock Nelson had a tip that was saved in front. Nelson doesn't end up getting a goal today, right? No, he actually just ends up with one assist. Carter to McCann on a break, and that ends up going wide of the net. Fast breaks going on again. Jari had a broken stick during that play. Goaltenders, keep in mind, are allowed to play when they have a broken stick. They are the only players on the ice allowed to play with a broken stick. Bailey would score, however, to break the shutout from Nelson and Beauvillier at 8:07. So the first goal is there, and the team scoring first has won every game in this series. So that bodes well for the Islanders, right? Kapanen had a shot blocker to side. Bailey having a really, really good game so far. I thought this might have been one of Bailey's best games as an Islander. Penguins press with 9 minutes left. I'm aware Bailey spent his whole career with the Islanders. So the Penguins press it with 9 minutes left. Sorokin saved a Bluger shot. Things get kind of scrummy after that. The Islanders then out of 3-on-2. That was defended. Jeff Carter throws a hit on Pelech. There was some boos on that one. I'm guessing Islander faithful wanted a penalty to be called there. The Islanders get a rush the other way. And guess what? Pulock ends up getting a goal from Wahlstrom and Leddy at 14:51, and it went in off of CC's skate. So this is why I'm saying, like, the whole talk of, oh, they got to shoot high glove. Today it was just, they just got goals. Just put the puck at the net. Just a really, really simple message. Islanders in full control now, up 2-0. Sorokin saved a Matheson shot, so he didn't choose to pass there. The Islanders were giving up virtually no second chances. So the Penguins were getting shots, but either they were being saved and held on to, or the defense was clearing out the rebounds. Islanders get a power play. Things get scrummy after that. After that call is made. Penguins really could not afford to allow a third goal. So that penalty kill had to come up big. Wahlstrom had a shot blocked. In the last second, there was a save by Jarry, so much the same as in the first. Jarry's making saves to close out the period at the end of the second. Third period, the Jarry chants start up right off the hop, so Islander fans into it with all the chanting. Sorokin making some good saves, controlling rebounds again. Leddy had a chance that was defended, and then Komarov had a shot that was stopped as the Islanders get some pressure. The Penguins get a power play. And this is where you get into the situations where you would expect the veteran players not to take penalties here. But 29 seconds later, it's 4-on-4. And then Letang takes a penalty to give the Islanders a 4-on-3. So since they've taken the last two penalties, it's a 4-on-3, and then they're going to get another power play right after that. So Wahlstrom scores first from Barzal and Pulock at 6:04. That's an own goal on Bluger. Bluger put it in the net himself. So the save was made on the Wahlstrom shot by Jarry, and then Bluger tries to poke it away, but instead he pokes it into the net. So you feel bad for Jarry. Well, if you're a Penguins fan, you do, or if you're not an Islanders fan, because he makes the save and then his own guy puts it in the net for him. So those are two goals in off of Penguins by the Islanders. And then 24 seconds later, Eberle with a gorgeous shot. He scores from Barzal and Pajot at 6:28. And yeah, that made it 4-0. So the other thing that was interesting today, Crosby was blanketed pretty well by the Islanders and done in a pretty clean way. We often have these debates about whether or not star players are getting mugged out there, whether or not they're getting hooked and high-sticked and all this other fun stuff, and it's not being called. In this case, they just covered him. They just covered him. Made sure that he didn't have any room out there. More blocked shots by the Islanders in the second half. Gensel takes a penalty with 4:29 left. So I'm looking at the score. I'm going, all right, Sorokin should be able to get shutout. I wrote goose egg on the board. I didn't write shootout or shutout because you don't put shutout on the board, right? I just put the goose egg is likely. I didn't even say he's going to get. No, I thought, yeah, it's pretty likely because they've got a power play. There's only 4.5 minutes left. Barzal had a blast that nearly made it 5-0, and then his next shot was fired wide. But at 17:25, the shutout is broken. Aston Reese scores his first career playoff goal from Dumoulin and Goudreau. And yeah, that makes it 4-1. The Penguins then finish off the kill. And shortly after that, Brian Rust ends up hitting the post. If that goes in, you pull the goaltender. You might put on pressure. You might have a really dramatic finish. It doesn't, and we don't. The Islanders win this one 4-1. They tie the series at 2. And show once again that these teams are pretty darn evenly matched. And today, Pittsburgh just got kind of sucked into playing the Islanders game. The shots were 8 apiece in the first, 12-9 Pittsburgh in the second, 10 apiece in the third. Final shots 30-27 for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh only had the one power play. They didn't score on it because it only lasted, 29 seconds? The Islanders end up with 5 power plays. They score twice. Hits 34-31 for Pittsburgh. Block shots 14-11 for the Islanders. Jarry saves 23 out of 27. Again, 2 of them go in off his own guy. So that's, yeah. Sorokin saves 29 out of 30, and he looked really good, really sharp, and if somebody didn't tell you, you wouldn't know that he was a rookie goaltender. So, all right, the series is tied. We know there will be at least one more game at Nassau. Remember, after this year, the Islanders move to their new home in the fall, so this is going to be the last time they play at Nassau. So if they had lost today and then Pittsburgh had won Game 5, there would be no more games in Nassau. This guarantees there's at least a Game 6 at Nassau. And if you're an Islanders fan, you're hoping for some more in the next round at the very least. Let me know your thoughts regarding this game in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. Again, the growth on the channel has been absolutely fantastic. And as ugly as these playoffs have been for incidents and dislike and anger, again, I think that's the familiarity really coming into this. These guys are tired of seeing each other. And yeah, so through the first and second round, I kind of expect it to be this way. And then in the semifinals and the finals, probably a lot more subdued. But hey, it's been fun to watch so far. All right, if you haven't already hit subscribe, go ahead, please do. If you haven't hit like, do that as well. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.